Welcome to my program, How I Beat Lumbar Spinal Stenosis. Hi, my name is Dr. Rob Bates, and these programs are really deeply personal for me because I thought I was doing all the right things for my spine through the years. I was exercising, getting adjusted on a regular basis, eating right. If I had pain, I'd perform functional exercises or stretches that got me out of pain, managed it quite well, which I called my aspirin stretches, until eventually it didn't. Got to the point where the pain got so bad, I just couldn't walk more than a few feet without excruciating pain. I did an MRI, which revealed the culprit. It was moderate to severe lumbar spinal stenosis, which had thickening of spinal ligaments, disc bulges, bone spurs, cysts, to where there's narrowing the spinal canal, creating those issues. It's like I had this huge rock on a garden hose that's blocking life messages going out to all the organs, glands, and muscles in that area at the end of that nerve. So the spinal surgeon suggested surgery, but is going to most likely lead to multiple other procedures and other surgeries. So I just couldn't go down that pathway. I had to do something different. I had to draw on my over 38 years of experience working with professional athletes, Olympians, the weekend warriors that came into my office. And I was really quite versed on functional rehabilitation. But there's this critical law of structure precedes function. So I had to get down at the cause of this spinal stenosis and deal with the structure. So I looked into structural rehabilitation, and one of the best areas to go to is chiropractic biophysics, or CBP, which is based off of more than 150 peer-reviewed journals. And I started applying this structural rehabilitation with the information that I'm going to go over in these programs, and I began to turn the corner. I was able to walk miles at a time without having pain, and I was actually able to get my active lifestyle back. So my mission with these programs, I want to take you through this journey with me step by step, because I know you can do it because I did it. Now, the best way to use this program is, number one, is just start from the beginning, understand the why, really important. Number two, you got to understand that each step will build on the next one. So start from the beginning and build up until eventually you get to that correction. Number three, there will be some ups and downs in this care because everyone is a little bit different. But if you apply and utilize the information that we go over with the integration of structural rehabilitation with functional exercise and adjusting the spine, and you're going to see that you're going to get back your active lifestyle and the quality of your life. As you know, lumbar spinal stenosis is a narrowing of the nerve canal, putting pressure on the nerve tissue, and it creates that problem. In other words, how your body works is that neurologically and functionally, that your brain has to send messages down through that spinal cord, out through the nerve, out to the organs, glands, and muscles of your body to allow it to function properly and be healthy. And then information has to come back up through that same pathway up to the brain, so the brain can make proper adaptations so you can have optimal function and be healthy and pain-free. But when you have lumbar spinal stenosis, you can have symptoms, for example, for me, back pain, leg pain, tingling, numbness, weakness, kind of a clumsiness in your feet. You get some cramping. And usually it's made worse when you get up and you start walking for long periods of time or standing, and it's relieved when you sit or bend and flexed forward. Now, those are just some of the most common symptoms, but there's other symptoms too. For example, there's been a study by this medical doctor from the University of Pennsylvania, and he wanted to see if the spine had anything to do with diseased organs. So what he did is he took 50 cadavers, and he found within those 50 cadavers in his study, he had 139 diseased organs. And he would trace back the nerve supply from those diseased organs back up to the spine, and he found nearly 100% correlation of where there was a minor curve or misalignment at the spine and where there was a diseased organ. He found where there was abnormal curves of the spine, like people that had poor posture, and where the spine is very stiff and the spine was out of alignment, that would precede disease in that organ. In other words, it would cause an interference of information going out to that area. It would cause a dis-ease or dysfunction in the area to eventually become dis-ease. He also said that spines that were out of alignment and stiff preceded old age. So in other words, he said, you're as old as your spine. Now, with these programs that we're talking about that we want to integrate, we want to change the structural alignment, we want to increase the function, do all these things to make a better spine. When you get the proper alignment and the proper motion within the spine, the proper stability around it, the spine stays younger, which means you're going to have better nerve supply to the organs, and you're going to delay the aging process. And the ultimate results of that is going to be pain-free, which will lead to a healthier you. A few final thoughts on treating lumbar spinal stenosis, because for myself, after suffering for years with this, and all the different channels and avenues that I went through, one thing I do know for sure is there's a huge shortcoming on actually treating lumbar spinal stenosis, because the experts feel that lumbar spinal stenosis is incurable. So the recommended therapies like medications, shots, flexion-based type of exercises, all for pain relief to buy you time until eventually you do the inevitable, and that's going to be the spinal surgery. But I've discovered that this is just not the truth, is that your body has this incredible innate capacity to adapt and heal. It's this intelligence that keeps us alive. It just doesn't need interference. So by applying these natural principles of structure precedes function, changing the structure, allowing the innate intelligence of the body to readapt, enough time for that to happen, and be patient, because healing takes time. And when you give it enough time to allow the innate intelligence to readapt and change, miracles happen. So healing takes time. You can do this. I did it. And I know that you can do this.